Good afternoon. Before we start, we're going to state our name, our age, our gender pronoun preference, the city we live in, and how long you've been in YLAT.
All right. So my name is Loretta. I'm the Youth Transition Specialist out of the Lewiston office, and we cover Androscoggin, Franklin, and Oxford counties. And so I'm from that area. I'm in my 30s, and my preferred pronouns would be she, hers, and hers. Her and hers.
Do you know how long you've been involved with YLAT?
I've been attending YLAT faithfully and helping co-facilitate it with Shannon for 4 years.
My name is Morgan. I'm 16. My gender pronoun preferences are she, hers, and hers. The city I live in is Portland. I've been involved with YLAT for 2 years.
Excellent.
What or who got you involved with YLAT?
So my position kind of got me into YLAT. I was first a caseworker in the department, and I had some teens on my caseload who participated in YLAT, but I was never aware of the fact that I could attend with them to get to know what YLAT was. So when I got my position as a youth transition specialist, I was told it was part of my responsibility to help get young people there and be present during the meetings. So that's when I came to really learn a lot more about YLAT.
Was it like a nice immersion process, or was it like rocky?
Well, a really funny story is the first meeting that Shannon and I had for YLAT, we were the only two people that showed up. So our office really didn't have a strong YLAT presence, so that was something that I worked on really hard, and now we have really good numbers and have people that return all the time, so it's great.
It's nice to see like the numbers increase, you know?
It is.
What does YLAT mean to you, and what have you learned from YLAT?
YLAT means for me a lot of chaos, a lot of busyness, and a lot of fun and exhaustion by the end of the day. It's part of my responsibility to make sure that everybody's able to get to and from YLAT and that they have a good, safe time when they're there. So there's a lot of pieces for me that I'm always kind of checking on, making sure it's going smoothly, that everybody's where they need to be, and everything's going well for them. What have I learned from YLAT? I've learned a lot from YLAT. I think it's incredibly important for us to continue to support young people coming together who they have shared commonalities with, where they can be themselves and then where they can feel safe. And over time, what I've seen happen is for those young people to come together and form kind of their own YLAT family, so to speak. They reach out, they help out each other when they're in trouble. And it wouldn't be normally the friendships that you might see kind of form in a different type of setting, but in YLAT, everybody cares about everybody, everybody's there for everybody.
Going back to like the chaotic part, I can only imagine how chaotic it must be with transporting kids from here to going home or coming home to going YLAT. I can only imagine.
It's also the fun part too.
What have you personally gained with being involved with YLAT?
For me, it was interesting to go from being like a permanency caseworker to having the position that I have. It gave me a way to interact with my young people in a very different way, in a way that was fun, that really kind of explored some of their skill sets, that helped them take adventures into unforeseen territory. It was really nice for me to be able to see them in social settings with peers and things like that, so that I could actually give them feedback about what they could do maybe a little bit better, or maybe with what they should watch what they're doing when they're in social settings. And I think a lot of our young people kind of struggle with their social skills, and so being able to have those conversations and be able to provide that feedback has really helped many of them grow, and that's been amazing to see.
Yeah, I think it's important to get like those indications of like when you need to practice in something and when you're all set, you know?
Because you don't know on your own unless someone points it out to you, and
Yep.
It's kind of an awkward conversation to have unless it's somebody that you're comfortable with.
Yeah. What does it mean to take your difficult life experiences and successes and use them in your role as a YLAT leader to change things for the better, or for yourself or for other youth in care, and to improve the child's welfare system?
I think for me, it's a little bit different because a lot of the work that I do really has to be centered around the young person, so I don't always get to share much of my own experiences, but in some situations I will. I want young people to know what they perceive to be in front of them when they look at a person isn't always really what it is. Like, some people have come from situations that aren't great or gone through experiences that are extremely difficult. They're just not the successful person that they envision in front of them. So sometimes I have shared parts of my story to let that person know that they're not alone or they're not the only one that's been through something. But it's done in a really strategic way that it's really trying to partner with that young person and support them.
I think it's important for youth to be able to relate so they know they're not all alone, you know?
I agree.
What happens in YLAT that makes you feel like you belong?
Oh my gosh, so I always feel it's really important for everyone at YLAT to know that I'm excited to see them, that I'm happy that they're there, that we're collectively happy that they're there and present today no matter what's going on in their life, because there can be a lot going on in our young people's lives. So it's seeing the smiles when they come in the doors, it's getting the hugs when they're leaving, it's getting those, hey, can I talk to you, can I share with you, I can't wait to tell you this. It's getting those little updates and that generally seeing that enjoyment of just being together.
Yeah, it must be like awesome and amazing just to like know that you're making these kids happy and they're actually excited to come to YLAT, you know?
It is amazing, but they return that feeling too. So it's not just them, it's the adults there too. So that's pretty cool.
Definitely. What kind of stereotypes or assumptions do you want to clear up about foster care?
I think there's assumptions that young people who are in foster care are quote-unquote bad kids, but I think that is truly wrong. I think they're amazing young people who are sensitive, as Tamia said, but have a lot of insight to things that other youth who haven't been through the system might not have. I think it makes them much more likely to lend a hand and be more accepting of someone, and make it more safe for someone who may be considered different from the norm. So I think it's pretty amazing in that way.
Yeah, it's like, I do think it's very important, you know. Why is it important for youth to be connected to YLAT?
I think it gives them a place to feel safe, to feel like they're not alone, to know that there's others like them, and to really practice different skills that they might be uncomfortable practicing elsewhere, because our group is accepting and we have no tolerance for anything but acceptance. So it's really good, and that's why I think it's important that they come.
Do you know how adults can help youth come to YLAT?
So I've worked on getting my members up at YLAT groups, and what I've often found is I tell my young people is I'm going to ask you about it every time I see you, which is usually approximately once a month, and I'm going to ask you about it until you come once. And if you come once and you tell me you don't want to go back, that's okay, you don't have to. But I'm going to keep on asking you until you give yourself that opportunity to come and join our group. So what I would say to other adults is come, be a partner, be a role model, be a support, come once, bring a young person at least once, know what it is so that you can talk about it.
Do you know what you would want people to know about what you've experienced in YLAT?
I would just share that for caseworkers and adult partners, that is a really good place to get to know a young person on a different level. It's good to see what their interests are, to see what their skills are, to have time to talk about the things that you might not be able to talk about when you're doing a traditional face-to-face contact.
When did you realize that YLAT was important in the work that you do? And could you share an example of that?
Yeah, I noticed it was really important. I kind of touched on it a little bit already, but when I was able to give feedback to young people about, their social interactions with other people, the things that they could work on and whatnot, because that's important part of developing skills as a young person, and going into adulthood is being able to do social situations and handle them with ease. So that was one thing that I found really beneficial as my role in a young person's life.
Can you describe a growth and impact you see in YLAT YLAT have on young people that you work with?
Yeah, there was one man in particular that comes to mind when you asked that question, or when I've read that question. And I watched him come with little to no friends, being really immature, saying things that were totally inappropriate, being the center of attention and being a jokester, to a young man who now is a role model in our group, who helps us lead some of our activities, who's able to conduct himself in a way that's really professional and give support to other people to kind of change how they're being perceived in the group and kind of step up and be responsible. It's been an amazing thing to watch.
I bet, like, it's amazing to, like, to see someone, like, come from, like, not a so great situation to become, like, someone so great that people actually want to look up to and become, you know?
It's my favorite part of the job.
Yeah. What is something that you're proud of?
I'm proud of all the young people that I work with. I've just seen them all grow. I've been in YLAT for the 4 years, and like every single person that comes grows, and it's just an amazing thing to watch happen. It's great.
Do you have any advice for the youth who might potentially come to YLAT?
Give it a shot. Try it once. You won't be sorry.
That's all the questions we have today. Thank you for coming.
You're more than welcome.